We have often heard inspiring stories of great leaders who built powerful empires through determination, vision, and hard work. But today, we bring to you a different kind of story, not of wealth, power, or kingdoms, but of compassion, resilience, and unconditional love. This is the story of Sindhutai Sapkal, a simple woman whose empire was not measured in riches or land, but in thousands of lives she transformed. Born into poverty, abandoned, and left to fight unimaginable hardships, she could have been just another forgotten story. But instead of giving in to her circumstances, she chose to rise above them, turning her pain into purpose and her struggles into strength. Her journey reminds us that true greatness is not defined by what we achieve for ourselves, but the lives we uplift along the way. Sindhutai was born on 14th November 1948 in Wardha, Maharashtra, but unlike most children, her birth was not celebrated. In fact, she was unwanted. Her family called her Chindi, which means a discarded piece of cloth. Despite the circumstances, there was one person who believed in her, her father. He wanted her to study and have a better life, but their poverty was so extreme that they couldn't even afford a slate. So, as a young girl, she would practice writing on large leaves. However, her childhood was short-lived. At just 10 years of age, she was married off to a 30-year-old man, Sri Hari Sapkal. Before she could even understand life, she was pushed into responsibilities far beyond her age. By the time she turned 20, she was already a mother of 3 children and was 9 months pregnant with her 4th.
Sindhutai wasn't just a victim, she was a rebel. She fought for the wages of local women against a powerful village headman. In revenge, the headman spread lies about her character to her husband. Her husband, influenced by these lies, brutally beat her and kicked her in her pregnant belly. He dragged her to a cowshed, left her there expecting the restless cattle to trample her to death under the cover of night. But in the dark, a miracle occurred. As Sindhutai went into labor, the cows formed a silent protective circle around her, shielding the mother and her newborn from harm. With no help and no tools, Sindhutai reached into dirt and found a sharp, jagged stone. To save her child, she struck the umbilical cord 16 times against the earth until it finally severed. That night, Chindi, the discarded cloth, died. In her place, a mother of iron was born.
After giving birth, she went to her mother's home, hoping for support, but instead, her own mother refused to let her in. With a 10-day-old baby in her arms and nowhere to go, she was left completely alone. She began begging at railway stations to survive, but even sleeping there was not safe. Every night, she lived in a constant fear that anything could happen to her or her child. So, to protect herself, she made a decision that most people wouldn't even imagine. She chose to spend her nights in a crematorium, a samshan. It was the only place where she felt safe because people were too afraid of ghosts to come there. But survival was still a daily battle. One day, driven by extreme hunger, she found a small amount of flour left as an offering for the dead. With no other choice, she mixed it with water and made a roti on the burning embers of a funeral pyre. That moment was more than just hunger. It was her ultimate test of survival. And yet, even in such unimaginable darkness, she did not give up.
While begging for her own child, she saw many orphans at the station with no one to care for them. She realized her pain was shared by many. She decided she wouldn't just be a mother to her own daughter but to every orphan she found. She told herself that if she can feed herself by begging, she can feed them too. In a supreme act of selflessness, She made the ultimate sacrifice. She gave her biological daughter Mamta to a trust to be raised elsewhere so that she could love all the orphans equally without any bias.
One day she found a baby crying next to his dead mother, helpless, alone, with no one in the world to care for him. In that moment, she realized that there were countless children just like him, abandoned and forgotten. She made a decision. She would not let them suffer alone. She adopted that child and went on to adopt more than 1400 others. These were not just children she cared for, they were lives she transformed. Many of them went on to become doctors, lawyers, and engineers, creating a ripple effect of change in society. But what truly defines her greatness is not just what she did for others, but how she chose to forgive. When her husband turned 80, the same man who had once abandoned her stood at the doorstep of her ashram, alone with no one to care for him. And what did she do? She didn't turn him away. Instead, she forgave him and accepted him, not as a husband, but as her eldest son. She believed that living only for yourself is one of the most selfish things a person can do. And she often said that when you feel you have no purpose left in life, make serving others your purpose. She once said that if he had not thrown her out that night, she would have never become the mind the world knows today. Her life is also a story of recognition. She received more than 270 awards, including the prestigious Padma Shri. But what makes her truly remarkable is that she used every bit of that recognition and reward to build more homes for the children she loved. Her legacy teaches us that true strength lies not just in overcoming pain, but in transforming it into something meaningful for others. She is not just a caregiver, but a true inspiration of a leader, one who led not with power, but with love. Because in the end, her life proves that the greatest leaders who are not those who rule people, but those who uplift them.